So why did Puss in Boots retire in Shrek Forever after? I mean, how did Rumpelstiltskin erasing Shrek from being born result in our brave and fearless hero transforming into an out-of-shape house cat? Well, I think the answer lies in the last wish. Puss didn't give up his life of heroism out of nowhere. I believe he became a big fluffy kitty because of his fear of death. You see, in a world without Shrek, a lot of Puss's early life would have happened the same way we saw it take place in the main timeline. Everything from Puss being an orphan to becoming a legend to feeling like he was immortal all would have occurred without Shrek existing.
I laugh at death. You see?
But in a world where Puss never met Shrek, I don't think that means Puss wouldn't have continued to burn through his lives in different ways. Like, we know for sure Puss never met Gingy early in the messed up timeline, because once Puss came across the gingerbread man, he ate him whole without any remorse.
Were you going to eat that?
If Puss didn't know Gingy, then he would have never lost a life baking with him, and he never would have met the rest of Shrek's fairy tale friends. Puss's true love, Kitty Softpaws, knew for many years that Puss's true love was himself. And even after becoming close friends with Shrek, Donkey, and their entire families in the traditional timeline, he still felt compelled to party across the world. For most of Puss's lives, there seemed to be nothing that would deter him from his rock star life or keep him away from danger. The only event that forced Puss to consider moving on from his time as a legend was when he was down to his last life and was forced to confront death.
I just love the smell of fear.
We're shown in The Last Wish that once Puss faced death, he attempted to give up his life as Puss in Boots. He left his sword behind, he removed and buried his outfit, and he hid away within Mamaluna's cat sanctuary. And I think similar events took place in the timeline where Shrek never existed. You see, Mamaluna's was definitely not a place fit for a retired hero. It was a demoralizing, disgusting, and depressing home.
So this is where dignity goes to die.
So obviously, Puss was quick to jump on an opportunity to fight for more lives, but maybe Puss would have actually enjoyed retirement and wouldn't have searched for a wish to cheat death if he had a different owner, and that's shown to be true in Shrek Forever After.
You've gone soft.
Well, I do get brushed twice a day.
I believe Puss in Boots retired because he wasted his lives and was afraid to face death, just like in The Last Wish. But the reason he stayed away from being a hero for so long was because in Rumpel's altered timeline, once Puss took off his boots and was taken care of by Fiona, he was able to live the high life. Instead of being fed cat food and being forced to poop in public, he was primped and pampered to his heart's content. I mean, he was even given unlimited cream. Puss was able to actually get comfortable living a casual and relaxed life when Fiona watched over him.
Now who's a pretty kitty?
I am.
I even think the idea of Puss retreating from death into the arms of Fiona explains their close relationship in Shrek Forever After.
Have the years of prim and pampery made me soft?
Don't be silly.
With Far, Far Away under Rumpelstiltskin's command, the world became an even more chaotic and dangerous place, and the kingdom needed a bold and charming hero more than ever. Sure, Puss in Boots could have helped in the Ogre Rebellion, but Fiona already had an ogre army to lead, so that's not what she needed. She wanted a friend. When Puss and Fiona met in the alternate timeline, Fiona would have been heartbroken after spending years alone inside of a tower waiting for her true love. Without Shrek coming to rescue her, she eventually left the Dragon's Keep behind, but even after she was free, her life was only filled with more pain. On her journey back to Far, Far Away, she would have learned her parents had magically disappeared and Rumpelstiltskin had taken over her family's kingdom. To make matters even worse, Rumpel was also hunting ogres like herself, so Fiona must have been in a very dark place, and for a while I'm sure it felt like there was no one left to love her. But at the same time, remember in Shrek 2, Puss in Boots was introduced to us as a bounty hunter who was willing to serve the king for the right price. And in Rumpel's Far, Far Away, Rumpelstiltskin was also willing to use bounty hunters for his own purposes. So I think the same opportunities that originally drew Puss to Far, Far Away may have remained the same. But once Puss in Boots inevitably reached his last life and stared into the eyes of death, that would have absolutely left him searching for a place to live out his days in safety. At that point, he would have wanted to find someone to protect and care for him. I think Fiona and Puss met in the alternate timeline at a point when they needed one another. With Puss in Fiona's life, she would have had someone to take care of who would be able to comfort her and ensure she didn't feel so alone. And with Fiona in Puss's life, he'd be able to have a well-trained fighting ogre woman looking after him who wanted to provide him all of the luxuries and affection that he could want.
I may have let myself go a little since retirement. Hanging up my sword was the best decision of my life.
If Puss in Boots was going to give up the boots, at least he'd be gaining a comfortable life with someone who would watch over him like his mother had at the orphanage.
But you're Puss in Boots.
Maybe once. But that is a name I have outgrown.
But through Puss and Fiona's friendship, he not only became soft and fluffy, he also became very fond of Fiona and their friendship. And he eventually was willing to fight again to help her. In a similar way to how Perito and Kitty opened Puss up to sharing his feelings and being vulnerable, I think Fiona did the same thing for Puss by confiding in him about her curse and the pain she felt because she had not found her true love.
Did you cry yourself to sleep every night, waiting for a true love that never came? It's all just a big fairy tale.
Maybe Puss was also able to bond with Fiona over the fact that he had left his true love behind, constantly felt alone in the world, and was scared of death.
I am down to my last life, and I am afraid.
In The Last Wish, all of Puss's memories when he confronted the White Wolf were of friends who helped him see what was truly important in his life. And in Shrek Forever After, I believe that friend had become Fiona. That's why when Puss sees Fiona open her heart again to Shrek, he's willing to help the ogre woo his friend.
You even know the little rhyme. It is true. You are the one. You must prove it to her.
And only after Fiona became imprisoned by Rumpelstiltskin did Puss fearlessly don his hat and boots again to help save her life. Puss in Boots returned to his life as a hero in the timeline where Shrek never existed because he was willing to put his last life on the line to help Fiona reach her happily ever after.